Yet. Here we go. Good evening, everybody. This is episode 24 of the Contextual podcast. I am Chris Phelps, aka Hulkamania78, who can't hit straight on certain games. And then we have my good friend, Mr. Andrew Pixel Hunter.
Hiya.
How you doing, pal? You okay?
I always look forward to this as well, if it's not just for that perfect quiff every Thursday evening as well. Honestly,
the perfectly grey going quiff.
It's all right. I tell you, mate,
it's all right.
Why don't you just go with your natural colour? You don't need to dye your hair grey. It's all right, mate. I respect your maturity.
It's just getting worse and worse. I did a video for this vlog thing I'm doing, and I was filming like a time-lapse thing, so it showed me when I'm doing my training for people. I'm putting all gear out, the personal training stuff, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is that grey?
You're decomposing.
Oh my God, mate, it was horrendous. The front of it looks like a tinting job. It's going that bad. But anyway, I digress. So what have you been up to, mate?
Just trying to catch up on a couple of films as well, because I suppose, as you know, as a family, it's very easy just to drift back into TV mode and just pick stuff up for 45 minutes or an hour. So I've got a couple under my belt as well. Working hard, as always. Long hours, but thankfully made this podcast as well. And then working on my Raspberry Pi as well, trying to get that to a state where it can be a nice pick up and play console, as well as obviously dropping in with some nice TV with the missus as well. So hopefully we can talk through that this evening.
You go for it. You I know we said, I know it's obviously it's based on gaming and stuff like that. And I had a bit of a segue the other day because obviously somebody interested in that around, you know, MMA, WWE, football, obviously. So one of the things we were thinking, especially with the Pixel Hunter, is the films and TV. So hit it, mate. You've got the floor for this one.
Thought it'd be best to discuss some of the films of any notable films that we've seen recently. Kind of almost like a double-edged sword with this, because I was so glad that I managed to get to see it. But as soon as I started watching the Blu-ray copy that we've got at home, Blade Runner, my God, honestly, I was in awe and almost sighing at the same time that I still haven't got to see this in IMAX. I mean, I'm really hoping that at some point I can actually, if they do like a revisit at some point, this is obviously a film that lends itself to the cinema, but still on the back of what probably would have been quite a tentative sequel in many people's eyes based on the reception and the appeal and the cult status of the original film, which has obviously generated several iterations over the years. Absolutely blown away by this film in every sense of the word. I think we probably talked about with our friends is that in terms of visually, without it being sort of too pretentious, because it's still such a good film as well, it's almost like a work of art.
Yeah.
Like, I would almost like go back to sort of Terrence Malick films for his cinematography in terms of you probably could have paused Blade Runner at any time and just thought, I can hang that as a frame in my house somewhere as well, because it just looked that beautiful. But I think one of the most reassuring things for me is that Ridley Scott was able to realize that he could have actually stepped back from Blade Runner and given Denis Villeneuve the reins to direct it all the way through. And what an incredible decision that's been to give him full control over that. This is a guy who, I don't know whether you've seen them before, but has done 2 films previously, Sicario.
No, I've never seen that.
Which is all about some police infiltrating Mexican cartel with Emily Blunt and Benicio del Toro. Incredible. Probably has one of the most tense traffic jam scenes that you'll ever see in cinema history as well. You'll have your knees up by your chin when you're watching it. You would have to watch it just so you know what I'm talking about. And Arrival as well with Amy Adams, which again is absolutely incredible. So that he's been given the reins to this, and it's actually 2 hours and 43 minutes long as well, but it's one of those where it really doesn't feel it. I think my jaw was to the floor most of the time while I was watching it as well. Jared Leto, incredible in it as well. Ryan Gosling still does a stand-up job as well. And a really, really, really nice payoff and sort of good connection to the previous story as well. So lots of nods and winks to the original film, but really good film just on its own merit, really. So don't worry. I would say don't worry if you haven't seen the original. It would be good if you did, because there's some nice reference points. But as a film on its own, it does well. And for your benefit as well, Dave Bautista's in the opening scene, and he's fucking brilliant in it as well.
He's good, Batista. He's very good in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, this is what I mean. He's probably one of the wrestlers who's actually done all right in terms of the quality of the films. I know The Rock has obviously gone on to gross millions and millions and millions, but I think Dave Bautista's done all right through Guardians of the Galaxy and now this.
It's funny with Andrew. So I've only just watched Guardians of the Galaxy over Christmas, and it's one of them things where I'd seen it, watched about half an hour, and put it down. And then when we actually sat down and watched it, mainly because it was full of the flu, excellent, absolutely excellent films. Batista steals the whole film, really, because
his literal form of humor is just absolutely beautiful. It works so well. I mean, he's not just there for his physicality. It obviously helps, but hats off to his acting chops as well. It's really good.
I think someone's just messaged us saying that the chat thing's not working. I wasn't being ignorant. I don't understand why it's not working, because it's showing on my.
But they're not able to actually contribute to it.
It's just, a couple of people have said that. I'm gonna have to have a look into that. I don't know why. Strange.
If it's live on YouTube as well, people will be able to comment on it as well.
Yeah, which is weird. Maybe it's something I've not enabled, obviously, because I've only just started doing this. But I know one of our viewers is a Scouse friend of mine, Mr. Masonic Gamer, I think, and our friend, and he's watching. So we'll try not to throw any Liverpool jokes.
Sorry, I've got a back off. Sorry, I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm sure they'll do well in the transfer window if they haven't just spent the transfer kitty already on one defender. But
we'll digress on the football. We might get
the second film that I watched recently is an incredible little indie film from last year. I'm sure it came out in 2017, called Good Time. Robert Pattinson of Twilight fame.
I know him.
Managed to actually write him, at least sort of typecast himself out of that particular role, and get into some. I mean, honestly, mate, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I was so taken aback by it. I'd obviously done a little bit of research and thought, if me and the wife have any time, what is it that we can actually invest in as well?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I think, not to be lazy, but the one thing that I can sort of draw it upon is maybe Drive as well. It's like a crime drama based on a guy who has sort of psychopathic tendencies. That'll be Patterson's character, who has a brother with Down syndrome as well, who decides that it'd be a good idea to rob a bank. And it basically sort of transpires from that incident right the way through an entire day of them trying to basically escape with everything that they've got as well. I think it's a very brave film in the sense that it's obviously these brothers. It's their acting debut as well.
Yeah.
Cinematography is great, and the soundtrack is absolutely incredible. So the two brothers are called Ben and Josh Safety, and I think it's Ben Safety that plays the brother with special needs in it as well. He's incredible, absolutely brilliant. Well, he got a standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival as well, so you can tell it actually got good reception there.
Straight on it. I've actually enabled live chat now, Andrew. Sorry to go across you there.
Drop your comments in as well. We don't want Scousers responding about the Poover form against people from the bottom of the Premier League as well. But all constructive comments are obviously welcome.
Are always welcome. Well, I've been watching a couple of things. Sam, my wife, she absolutely fucking loves horror films, and I detest them with a passion. And very rarely will I watch them at all. I'm the biggest 6'2" shithouse you could ever think of. So I'd rather, it's stupid because I could sit there and watch some gangster film or some violent psychopath, stab someone's face in. But when it comes to someone jumping at a window or behind a curtain or something, I'm absolutely awful. And we decided to watch, I know it's an old one from 2010, but it's leading on to the second and third is Insidious. And to say I was scared, which is probably people watching and listening going, you absolute, mad ass. But Sunday afternoon, all the curtains were shut. I was on my arse, mate. Absolutely on my arse. I swear, honestly, I was fucking terrified watching it. And I said to her in the end, I said, this is why I do not watch these films, because I'm just a coward when it comes to these films. I'm terrible. But it was a good film. Yeah. And to be fair, I will watch the next one. It's just I need to sort of rev up for it.
Prepare yourself for it. Just have all the curtains open. Have at least somebody next to you saying, "It's just a film. It's just a film. It's just a film."
I watch it about 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we're
exactly.
Yeah. Just a coward's way out. But I've watched that. And I'd say what I did watch, and you might disagree on this because your knowledge of films is a lot better than mine. I watched, and I didn't like it. I turned off after about an hour. That Logan's Lucky with Adam Driver, obviously Kylo Ren, and Daniel Craig.
I've not it yet as well. I mean, not that I was apprehensive when I actually saw the trailer as well. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. I've just not got around. I mean, I really like Channing Tatum that's in it as well. You know, as much as he's not.
Yeah, he's the older brother, isn't he?
I love him as an actor. Have you seen Foxcatcher?
Yeah, about the wrestling. That's to do with
absolutely. But considering it's
Steve Carell.
Yeah, Steve Carell plays. And I can't remember the famous boxing coach that's in it as well. But he's brilliant in it, Steve Carell. Considering it doesn't look anything like him. No, he's really good.
Must be a great film, but it's a weird one. I mean, you might like it. I never liked No Country for Old Men, and everyone loved that.
Whoa.
Controversial, I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. Well, I don't know. I would always say that and There Will Be Blood came out at relatively the same time, and There Will Be Blood, as you can see now from a new banner on Pixel Hunter, is probably one of my favourite films of all time.
Well, let me just digress with No Country for Old Men, because I went on Rotten Tomatoes. I rang a good friend of mine up. I was still in the band at the time. It was the drummer who's intellectually on another level to me usually. And I rang him and said, we're going to watch a film at the Trafford Centre. What have you got for me? So he said, go on Rotten Tomatoes. But he said, No Country for Old Men. And I really enjoyed that film when he was blowing people's heads off with that gas compressed, whatever it was, nail gun or whatever. But what pissed me off was when Josh Brolin got killed just randomly. You didn't see him get killed. And Tommy Lee Jones was having these weird. No, I don't know. I needed an ending.
Chris, God. You want to see him right in front of your eyes going, and the lights going out as well.
I found it really strange at the Tommy Lee Jones sections where he was just sat there talking like at the end and stuff. I get the dynamics of it, and I'm not just a cliche film follower where it's all action. Even though I like them sort of films, I am open to it, but. I found it. It didn't live up to the hype, and then I watched one. It's quite similar. A few months ago, where it was two brothers were going around in the country. They were driving. I never forget the car because they were driving I think it was a Camaro, and they were going around robbing banks and stuff. And Jeff Bridges is chasing them. He's like the old cop.
Oh, it's brilliant! It's oh my God, what's it called? I watched it. I actually watched it with the entire family as well. Oh, what is that called? That's brilliant. So you like that one?
I thought it was okay. Yeah. I thought it was all right. But again, it was on the realms of. Let me get the name. Get my phone on it. It was on the realms of No Country for Old Men, where I didn't get the hype. If that makes sense. Mate. I'm letting the team down here, aren't I?
You know what? To be honest, you wouldn't be far away because I know I've got a good friend who really isn't very fond of westerns in any sort of way as well. But I loved both of them. I love both of them. See, this is where live chat would obviously be really handy, isn't it? Where
Hell or High Water.
Hell or High Water. We got it at the same time.
Jeff Bridges. It was a good film.
It's Chris Pine, isn't it? Chris Pine and Ben Foster. Yeah, not the West Brom keeper, but an actor.
Yeah, it's a cracking film. But yeah, so David. Oh, and I did watch before you go on to your next one, which I thought was actually quite good. Was Paddington Bear, which is
it's got really good reviews, mate. Yes, it's got really good reviews.
It was good. The first one was good. We haven't seen the second one, but the first one I watched to build into the second. Because we've got that app now where you get everything on. We used to have the Fire Stick, so it's got all the films on. So anyway, go on, you carry on, mate.
So obviously the next thing for me was going through. We've had all the Oscar nominations recently. Obviously, coming out of the big news that the Disaster Artist actually hasn't been nominated for anything off the back of the allegations of James Franco, because that was to time with the fact that I was obviously a big fan of season 1 of The Juice.
Yep.
And David Simon, the creator of The Juice, has actually been interviewed to say that, so they're actually filming it at the moment, and he's filming season 2, but they don't necessarily know what's going to happen if any of the allegations come to light, which for James Franco to do anything like this is a real shame, because his characters in it are absolutely brilliant. I think I spoke to you before. He plays two brothers in it. So the Oscars have obviously then decided against obvious popular demand to, and rightfully so, to strip him of any Oscar nominations. Doesn't mean that there aren't some crackers in there at the same time. Now, probably like you, I've seen a handful of these, and I've got a couple to watch as well. I'm hoping to at least watch one of them that's had a wealth of nominations over the weekend. The main one being Shape of the Water. Yeah. I don't know whether a town like Barrow in Furness is able to have Shape of the Water on their Cineplex when they go back this weekend, but we can but hope it. So the Best Picture nominations is Call Me by Your Name, which I haven't seen yet. Darkest Hour, which is chronologically just before Dunkirk with Gary Oldman in. Dunkirk is in there as well. You know,
great film.
Wonderful film as well. Get Out as well, which is written by Jordan Peele, who's part of the comedy duo Key and Peele. That's a great film. A little bit like a feature-length episode of Black Mirror. Lady Bird with Saoirse Ronan, and Phantom Thread, which is Paul Thomas Anderson's newest film, which is allegedly Daniel Day-Lewis's last ever film, in inverted commas as well.
I believe that, yeah.
Which has had incredible. I mean, I love everything that Paul Thomas Anderson has done before anyway. So it wouldn't necessarily be the kind of subject matter I would go into as well, but I'm sure if Paul Thomas Anderson has anything to do with it, it'll still be great. The Post, which has obviously got everyone in. I would be very surprised if that doesn't come away with some Oscars, which has got Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, and Spielberg all attached to it as well. The Shape of the Water, which is by Guillermo del Toro, which you'll obviously know from him from the likes of Pan's Labyrinth, Devil's Backbone, and Kronos. I don't know whether you've ever seen any of his older stuff, but Devil's Backbone, I couldn't recommend anymore. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, obviously he did Hellboy, didn't he, in Pacific Rim as well? Yeah,
Hellboy. Well, to be fair, the first three I've probably never heard of, but the other two I've.
All right.
Just my knowledge of film stops at the generic mainstream, I think, sometimes. You fucking embarrass me when we talk about this, because I'm
it's not intentional. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri as well, which is...
That Woody Harrelson?
Yeah, the cast list is Francis McDormand, Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell, for me, is one of the most underused actors in the entirety of Hollywood. He's so good in everything that he does, even if the film itself is garbage. So it's nice to see him getting a Best Supporting Actor knock on the. But we'll get down.
Have you seen that film?
So I'm toying with the idea of if, when we go back to see my parents this weekend, to see either that Shape of the Water. It really depends what's on in Barrow, really. I don't know. They probably just have 4 screens dedicated to Star Wars. I don't know. I do it in this service, I'm sure. Yeah. It's still a very good film as well, but yeah, I would like to have a little bit of variety.
Well, I only know about that film. I mean, it's advertised on the bus shelters because obviously we're doing it at work and putting them up. So there's a picture of Woody Harrelson. But 2 people at work decided to talk behind me at work and told me the whole plot. So I know exactly what happened.
Yep. So, and then that story ends, and now they're dead, is what you were going to say?
Yeah.
I mean, one of my friends, Mark, who's got a really good taste in films or like any form of media, and we have like a really good sort of WhatsApp group, which we would usually be relatively critical about things as well. But he'd actually said that maybe on second viewing, it's potentially one of the best films he's ever seen. And I think that's high praise coming from him. So
that's good, though. I've got to keep it. Well, I'll have to try and watch that one then. I don't mind a bit of Woody Harrelson. He's good.
I always hark back to the first season of True Detective. He was really good in that.
Cheers.
And so actors in a leading role is Timothy Chalamet from that Call Me By Your Name again, Daniel Day-Lewis in Phantom Thread, Daniel Kaluuya, who's in Get Out. He was also in a very early episode of Black Mirror as well. Gary Oldman, who looks unrecognisable as Churchill,
yeah.
Darkest Hour. And then there was one at the end, and I hadn't recognised it before, so I just obviously did a little bit of digging. But Denzel Washington in a film called Roman J. Israel Esquire, but this is by the guy who directed Nightcrawler. I don't know if you've seen that. Jake Gyllenhaal. I loved that film.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. That basically takes up the actors in a leading role, and then actresses is Sally Hawkins, the British actress for Shape of the Water, Frances McDormand, naturally, for 3 Billboards, Margot Robbie.
Oh yeah,
plays Tonya Harding in I, Tonya, which again one of the guys on our group said is fantastic. Saoirse Ronan in Lady Bird and Meryl Streep in The Post. Actor in supporting role, Willem Dafoe. I mean, I love Willem Dafoe anyway, so he's actually got it for Florida Project, which again is supposed to be a great film as well, but not necessarily that many nods really. Woody Harrelson, as you mentioned, for 3 Billboards. Richard Jenkins for Shape of the Water. Christopher Plummer, who is going to replace everything that Kevin Spacey has ever done ever in all the money in the world.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And there you go, Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell, 3 Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so I'm glad he's got. I mean, other notable mentions are the likes of Blade Runner for cinematography and Dunkirk as well. I know Mudbound has actually been sort of bandied around a bit as well, and again, that's maybe one on the list to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that sort of more or less covers it before you go into, thankfully, directing. Christopher Nolan, it would be great if he could get a directing Oscar as well.
Classic, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, he's a wonderful director.
Yeah,
it's great that Jordan Peele's got a nod for Get Out as well. Yeah, so I think it's actually quite a good list this year as well. So
when's that?
It'll be in the next few weeks. It's usually the end of February, isn't it? So it's probably in 1 or 2 weeks' time. So yeah, it won't be far away. Yeah,
the Golden Globes were on, weren't they?
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, yeah, there was obviously some good results there as well. But yeah, fingers crossed. It's quite nice as well because I think it gives me a good steer on the things that I want to watch in the next few weeks and months as well. Don't forget to top up your Prosecco, mate.
Yeah, to be fair, we're on the what are we on? We're on the M&S. You use the screw top, which is you never usually have that, but
I can't promote it visually, but I obviously love the Green Bullet Pale Ale from the Thirst Class Ale Brewery.
Of course. Get that promotion in. You need to get that.
So when you get your I know, that's what I mean. I'll throw it over to you, mate.
I'm sponsored by Prosecco, so if anyone's out there who likes a bit of Prosecco, you can always throw us.
There you go. Yeah, hoppy pale ales all round as well. I could quite easily be sponsored by that, actually.
Good stuff. I think what you're looking forward to films-wise this year?
I really think, for me, I would say probably 3 Billboard. I would say probably most of the Oscar films I'm looking forward to as well, just because I don't know how good you are, but it's very hard to get out to, or at least use one of our free evenings with the family sometimes to get out to the cinema as well. So I think quite a handful of the Oscar films before I even start looking beyond that, really. So I think Darkest Hour, Mudbound, Shape of the Water as well, everything like that. I'm more than happy to get involved with. Hopefully I'll see the majority of them at the pictures. Is there anything of note that you'd want to see for 2018?
Yeah, I'm quite strange with the cinemas because like a friend of mine's got that $17.99 gig with Odeon, where obviously you pay it every month like a Netflix subscription. You can go as many times as you want. So he goes twice a month on a Saturday with his girlfriend, and he'll watch a double bill of films. Now, obviously, I can't do that, and I'd do Sam's head in if we did that. But I usually go to the cinema. I like going to the cinema. Last time I went to the cinema was obviously Star Wars twice over Christmas. Once midnight, as I said, and then I went again over Christmas with Sam because she didn't go to obviously the midnight showing. And excuse me, I always want to go to a film like Dunkirk and stuff because no matter how good your surround sound is, no matter, I mean, I've got a great sound plate and everything. This LG one's phenomenal. It's as good, or if not better than the Bose ones. It's that good, but
doesn't replicate it.
Not the same. And when we went to see Dunkirk, even though some of the reviews were a bit hit and miss, to actually see it in the cinema and for 90 minutes of pure exhilaration and sort of the realization of what they had to go through. And that's a real story. Obviously, there is going to be artistic license. I'm sure the Tom Hardy thing didn't happen. No spoilers there, but you know what I mean. At the end, but
you know, he's still got to introduce drama. But I think he's conscious in order to obviously do honor and be able to do it in a sensible way to the event that happened anyway, without glorifying it too much as well. It was basically about as many men trying to survive. It didn't necessarily matter how well they were at the particular job. So. And again, I would reiterate, I was still really taken aback at how good Harry Styles was as well.
He was excellent in it, excellent, and I think he complemented, because obviously Cillian Murphy's in it out of Peaky Blinders, and obviously Batman originally, he's fucking ace, absolute ace actor. And then you've got Tom Hardy was in there, and to be fair, I laughed with you. I've said this before, but when he did his first talk in that fighter pilot, the RAF pilot, it was just Bane. I was just waiting for him to go, Mr. Wayne. You know, it was just like, Bane. I'm sat in the cinema nudging Sam, going, "He's fucking Bane." And she's like, "No, it's not." But yeah, so
I suppose any of the ones to be like, I mean, obviously not really like researched that far ahead. But I know Wes Anderson's doing a new film here of Grand Budapest Hotel and such like. He's doing another one with all of those guys like Ed Norton and everyone called Isle of Dogs, which is like almost like a stop motion, like animation type film as well, with lots of notable people. Bill Murray, I'm sure, will be in there. So all of the usual cronies that help Wes Anderson. But I know that he's very chalk and cheese with sort of Marmite in how he makes his films, but I kind of love. I mean, for me, Rushmore is one of my favourite films of all time as well. I absolutely love that with Jason Schwartzman. So
yeah, I know the film. I've never watched it, but it's interesting because this year there's three films that I've written down here, and they're all mainstream films, you know. But for the cinema, what I would go and watch, like some of the films you've mentioned, I will watch them, but it'll be a Sunday afternoon when they've HD copies come on certain dodgy sites or boxes or whatever. But I've got Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Parks. I know it's all cliched and it's the same script. I love Jurassic Park. The Han Solo film, Solo, which is out in May, and I'll be on to the midnight launch for that. And then you've got Avengers Infinity War as well, which I can't wait because it's got everybody in it. And I'm not sure if it's Infinity War out this year or is that, I'm not sure.
I really don't know, mate.
I need to check that. I was looking before because I thought I need to be accurate in what I'm saying. And I'm sure they've wrapped on it. Now, whether it's out this, but either way, the Avengers, I'm a sucker for, as you know, for superhero films. So they're really the only ones at the moment on my radar. The only thing with the superhero stuff is I'm not happy. Like, what's the Justice League? And yeah, it's good. I love Superman. Superman's my all-time favourite thing. And I know we mentioned this last time, but I don't like this thing now where all of a sudden you'd have Superman rescuing everyone, as in or Spider-Man or Batman. Now he's got 4 or 5 of these people in one film, and I think it dilutes the superhero
just don't genre. Know how it's able to get across the characters.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know that you can't then use that budget to say, "Oh, we'll just do a series." You know, I don't know whether we're going to get to that realm, but if you've got so many characters in it as well, it's just impossible. Even if, because for me anyway, like especially a superhero film and an action film shouldn't be long. It should be 90 minutes at best. So how do you introduce all of those characters within that period of time, other than them just physically fighting on screen as well? You know, exactly. And then that just makes it like any other film. It's probably an impossible task in some respects for a director to put together. So
yeah, I think as well is what I'm struggling with is where do they go next? Because I'm not happy with Ben Affleck as Batman, even though I loved Christian Bale. But if he goes on his own, like they've done it with the Marvel stuff, like the last 4 film was basically the Avengers without Iron Man, or you know what I mean, or like Captain America was the last film was basically the Avengers without the Hulk, but it comes under Captain America, and you're like,
I don't know.
Before you just had one superhero.
I think for me, we're not necessarily. I think we're very lucky to be in an era where Chris Nolan has actually directed 3 superhero films.
Yeah,
we've been spoiled, I think. I would struggle to say that we'll ever see anything as good as that in our lifetime where superhero films are concerned, whether or not we can bring him back in to do anything like that. But maybe he's just done with it now because he's obviously got so much credibility. Thankfully, he's able to do what he wants, you know, like Dunkirk and like everything, like Interstellar as well that he's done. So
I
don't know. Yeah, Matey Boy, who you said was going to be the lead acting role for Han Solo, he's the guy from Hail Caesar, isn't he? I don't know whether you've seen that.
Yeah, he is.
He was brilliant in that, in the small role that he plays as well. So yeah, good on him.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting, and I think it's fresh sometimes. I like the fact that it's a fresh idea. Oh, in fact, actually, something's just come in my head. There is a film that I'm looking forward to, and it's one of up there with Star Wars. It's one of my favorite films ever. I've got the dressing gown, everything. Is the new Creed or Rocky, because that's out around November, December. It's supposed to be. Yeah, it's a bit dingy. Dolph Lundgren's in it.
Shit, does his face move anymore?
I know, I don't know. I mean, he looks the business.
So if he gets punched in slow motion, that'll have to be all CG, because if anyone hits him, his face wouldn't move at all.
Well, the original story, which we've heard many times, is Creed wants to avenge his dad, the son in it. Adonis Creed, he's called, but he's not called Adonis Creed. He adopts Creed when he fights in it, and then he's fighting against Ivan Drago's son. Obviously, so I mean,
it's already amazing. Like,
yeah,
do you know what? I still loved Creed. You know,
that was a great film.
I had a little bit of issues with it, especially the bit where he's running through Philadelphia and
the bikes
with the guys on the bikes. That fucking hell, I died inside.
You can see me shaking my head because that was just like you fucked it right up there, you know.
But no, honestly, I mean, because the one before that wasn't that great as well. But no, I thought he did. He's great. I'm trying to think of the actor's name in that as well, but he plays Wallace in The Wire as well. But he's done really well for himself. He's a top actor. He's
Michael. What's his bloody name? He's a good actor. Might not be Michael. He's a great actor.
He's the main bad guy in the Black Panther film that's coming out as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
He was in the Fantastic Four as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. No, he's a good.
His bloody name. I'll get his name now. Michael B. Jordan.
There you go.
That's it. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. But the thing is, Stallone's directing this one, so he is an underrated director, Stallone, in certain films. And no,
did he direct Creed?
No, he didn't. I think he did the screenplay for it. I'm not sure. He didn't direct it, but he's directing this one. Definitely, yeah. Because I follow him on social media and that, so he's definitely directing this one. Obviously, he's done all the writing on it and everything. So it's something that's going to be there. It might be a sleeper. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be. If it's just he fights him on Christmas Day like he did in Rocky IV, then we might as well just fucking sing it home. I'll just wait for it to come out on the Fire Stick or on the bloody dodgy apps or something. But
I just think we were quite lucky with Creed, weren't we? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a top film, really. Oh, I see. So the director of Creed is the guy who's doing Black Panther.
Yes.
There you go. So
I don't know what his name is, but yeah.
Fruitvale Station. He did Fruitvale Station with the same actor who played Krieg as well, which is basically about an event that happens on New Year's Day. So it's based on true events. That's great as well.
Right. Oh, might be all right then. Yeah, cool.
Cool. So do we switch the gaming now?
Yeah. We were saying we were going to talk about upcoming games. I've got a couple of things I want to drop in there about Xbox and stuff, and the PS and stuff, where it goes. So yeah, hit it. Have you got a couple of games that you're looking forward to this year?
I think anything for me would be like desperately trying to reclaim some form of football game that still seems to be absent from our gaming shelf at the moment. Unfortunately,
it's fucking absent from everyone's shelf. Don't worry about that.
Isn't it so depressing as well? So I mean, at least we've got maybe a sociable soccer on the horizon as well, and then that probably bridges the gap. But you just and I know that'll do something for the arcade sense of what we need. But I feel like we've kind of got those already, and especially because I've been going back into the Raspberry Pi, I've obviously picked up quite a lot of those anyway.
Yeah.
There may be a World Cup game on the horizon, hopefully, but whether that'll be playable as opposed to FIFA 18 or PES 18, I don't know. So if we get a standalone World Cup game that comes out sort of March, April, then maybe that obviously bridges the gap. But then again, we'll just be waiting for PES or FIFA 19. I think for me at the moment, my door is open to either. In terms of I just want to play a credible football game, but there isn't anything that fills me with any sort of hope or expectation at the moment, really.
No, it's funny because obviously I knew we were doing this podcast and that, and I sat there and tried to write stuff down about the football sort of genre, and there's just nothing at the moment. I mean, I think like you, because we've gone back. Sam's just entered the room, Andrew.
Hi, Sam. Hello.
Sam, you can go on the camera. No, she's not going on the camera. No, because
can't improve on this, can she? That's the thing.
No, you can't improve on the quiff, Sam. You can't improve on the quiff, can you? No, she's not. She's just nodding her head. Say hello on the camera, Andrew.
Hi.
You're on YouTube. That's one scary woman, by the way. Don't be fooled. She can beat me up. Okay, hey?
I have no idea.
Shut the door quick.
I'm not saying anything.
No, she'll kick the shit out of me, definitely. No, but it's funny because of playing the retro stuff, like you said, and like I was playing like the virtual, the striker games and that, because I've got the, like yourself, you've got the Raspberry Pi, and I've got the modded Xbox now, and I've gone through. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of it, we played some of the old stuff, and it is rose tinted glasses because it's utter shit. I mean, there's stuff like, I know we've banged on about this before, and obviously we did it all, but Sensei is gold, and it'll always hold up because it's just a totally different game. And I must admit, with the sociable guys, it's one thing I think they lost slightly was going on a side view. I always play it top down because I can't play it side on, because that's not what it's about. If you wanted it side on, you'd play Pro Evo or FIFA. Or it's just me. I just prefer. But it's interesting because obviously I play pro clubs all the time. I've mentioned it loads of times, banged on about it loads of times. That's a different. It doesn't feel like I'm playing FIFA. That's a game I'm playing as a social thing with friends and family. PES is obviously going to start hearing rumblings around about May time of what they're going to bring, and there'll be the usual generic interviews. How everything we have said is wrong with that game that they have not acknowledged will now be acknowledged in May time.
Yeah, I mean, it's already starting to be, isn't it?
Exactly, which pisses me off, because when you and me get sort of alienated or sort of called out for our approach,
aggressive,
and I get that. Yeah, I get that. Maybe I was a bit.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
Forefront.
Don't second guess yourself.
No. I was. I was going to say something, then I wasn't. I was going to take the piss then, but yeah, no, I wasn't. I know I wasn't. I was going to say something stupid, but genuinely, that's where it loses the credibility. Now, I have had a conversation with somebody, and I'm not going to say any names, and you don't even know this, but I have a conversation with somebody in the last few days who bangs that Konami drum, and says how bad the game is, right? Doesn't matter. Everyone's got, everyone is entitled to that opinion.
Fully
I respect
any opinion they want at all.
Exactly, and I respect this person because he's a very, very good guy. But in some respects, it's sort of it sort of makes my and your argument hold more water, because you're thinking, I know we'll end up going back onto PES, but it's genuinely like they're not far away. And why don't you just listen? And when people are saying it, we're not attacking you. We're saying it to help them, to help us enjoy it. You want our money, so don't produce a half-assed game that's fucking not finished. And I think, sorry to keep talking over, but I think playing the old games, the new games haven't got that fun element that the old ones did, and they haven't.
You kind of touched on it there a little bit, where rose-tinted glasses were concerned as well. And that's the thing I found. I thought, would I get as much enjoyment going back and playing some of the older football games? And I think, to be honest, they were probably a little bit revolutionary at the time, but some of them are so far past the best.
Yeah.
I suppose the thing that I always find when going back to play retro games is any of those that still have that kind of arcadey element that aren't necessarily trying to be a simulation of games that we now have that are better are great to go back and pick up and play with mates as well. But those that are trying to sort of emulate or simulate versions of sports or anything like that we are now playing better versions of really haven't held the test of time whatsoever. Like things like Adidas Power Soccer and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. It's a terrible game, but it is great to still pick up and play. Even some of the old PESs as well work really well. I've been playing like FIFA 98 Road to World Cup and stuff.
Yep.
Absolutely fine. Work's not a problem, but then some of the other stuff you think, there's a reason that we've moved on from this, really. Yeah, and
I hold that opinion quite highly, because obviously I've mentioned a couple last time about the Sega Saturn, and we were playing Sega Worldwide Soccer, the Striker. What the hell was I playing? It was another one of the other football games, and we put it on.
Soccer or Striker, I don't know.
Might be Striker, I think it was, and we played it, Andrew, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But at the time, a 3D side-scrolling football game was pretty much unheard of. When they tried it in the past, it never worked. It could never topple Sensi. FIFA 94 obviously come out, and it was side-scrolling, and it did sort of change the genre of thing. And then you've got obviously ISS and stuff like that. But I agree with you. I think when you could put any SNES game, like obviously I always go back Mario Kart, Super Mario, any of the platforming games, or Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion. I love that game on the Master System Mega Drive. Absolutely love that game. Psycho Fox on the Master System I used to play. Absolutely love the Alex Kidd, and all that sort of thing. Wonder Boy. And I used to play them all. Now, you could put them on and you could play it. You could play Zelda Link to the Past on the SNES. Doesn't matter about the pick. You'll play it because there's a game behind it, about exactly what you said. But other than Olympic Gold on the Mega Drive, which I absolutely love that game, that doesn't time.
I've got it as well.
I love it. It doesn't age for me at all because I used to spend hours playing at Street Fighter, things like that. You can put them on, and it doesn't matter what console they're on, you will play them as you played them in the day. But I totally agree that because the evolution of football games, mainly because of PES, really, forget what FIFA's done the last few years. Pro Evo was the revolution of football games. We know that. We won't be doing this podcast. Obviously, we and you wouldn't have met if it wasn't. So it's a big catalyst in everything that FIFA's done. And Dave Rutter and everyone who runs, I don't think he runs it now, he took over FIFA and he created that game off his love for Pro Evo. And everyone they had were Pro Evo fans who created from FIFA 07 upwards because they wanted to replicate a game while they worked for EA that was similar, or if not better than FIFA. And I obviously believe in FIFA 09 and FIFA 10 and 11, that's when it surpassed PES. But PES 2011 was a great game. Other than that, FIFA's obviously sales, whatever, it's dominated. But you are so right in what you're saying. Golf games, I used to love PGA Tour golf on a Mega Drive, European. I used to spend days off school doing that. My dad used to write notes for us and everything playing them games. They're fucking awful when you play them now.
I know, because I'm just thinking, like, you've got such a great sort of arcadey pick-up and play game in everybody's golf. That's where I'm glad I've got my PS4. I know the Xbox is starting to bring it back a little bit as well. But that's like the best combination of modern-day sort of arcadey games where it looks absolutely beautiful as well. And it's just so intuitive and pick up and play. So it's very hard to go back and play any of the retro golf games because I'm just thinking, actually, I could just be playing everybody's golf on the PS4.
Exactly. And plus, don't forget, you've only got a couple of buttons. Sorry to interrupt. You've got a couple of buttons. Yeah. And it's like, press B was the power bar.
Yeah.
B. And if you didn't hit it on, obviously on PJ Golf, it went off for a fade or a draw or whatever. You go off because and I love them games, but when I play them now, I'm like, what the fuck was we playing? We spent hours playing them games.
Yeah, they just don't hold up really, do they? So,
no. Very good point, that. It's a very good point. And I think as a retro enthusiast like yourself, like I am, I put it on the Instagram stuff, WWF WrestleFest, my favourite arcade game of all time. I've not mentioned it before.
Last night.
Oh, love it. And the only thing is you can't play as Legion of Doom, which is bullshit.
Yeah, which is almost offensive. I will actually be going to the arcade club in the second weekend of February, actually. So again, a really good place that, it probably doesn't need the promotion as well because it does very well for itself. But yeah, I love the arcade club in Bury. It's great.
I'll have to come with you. I'll have to do it at some point.
February, that's when we're going as well. So there's going to be 3 carloads of us going there as well, stinking up the place on a Saturday. So
I might have to try and jump on that one if I'm not doing anything.
Mate, you're more than welcome. Yeah, it should be good.
Thanks, mate. That's really good.
And again, anything else that I'm still playing at the moment, mate, I can't believe how vast the career mode is for Dirt 4. I'm still playing that game all the way through as well. And I'm still not really getting that bored with it. Obviously, haven't really dabbled that much online because with anything like that, everyone's really ultra competitive and I can't get anywhere near the times of people that they're doing as well. But the career mode is so vast as well and quite varied. So I'm still making my way through that. And I think, as I said before we came on the podcast, I'm just trying to build up my Raspberry Pi collection and try and get it in a state. Because obviously, as you know, with soft modding your Xbox as well, it's sometimes the development side that takes more time than the actual playing side as well.
Yeah.
Because what I want to do is be able to take it anywhere and have up to 4 controllers with me at any one time and just be able to put on whatever I want, either whether it be sort of arcade or PS1 or N64 stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it brings back that sort of multiplayer stuff, as we've said loads of times, that isn't there anymore, because people are so antisocial with, you can have, I've forged, I know obviously he'd be watching this, but I forged a friendship with Brad, a Sonic gamer. Obviously, we met him at the expo, me and yourself, and we met Mark in So Many Coins, two great people. And I've only met him once, but to this afternoon, we were playing PUBG and stuff. And it's
like, you always mentioned it, didn't you?
I know. It's give that man a cigar.
You're well to hold out, mate. Actually.
No, I was going to say it a minute ago, and I thought, I can't say anything. Fucking slated for it. But genuinely, we were playing this afternoon, and the two really, really nice people. And now that side of gaming is fantastic, because it's one thing. Obviously, I know you've not got an Xbox yet, or you haven't got one at the moment. But it's the first game I've played probably since the Gears of War, when I used to play, and know Gears of War well. When you'd have like 4v4 in a room, and once one of you gets killed, the other one, and that voice chat. Even though we're in a party, and that voice chat and the communication of working as a team, even when you get killed, you can tell. You can only see what that person's seeing on the screen, but you can see stuff before them, and the teamwork and the fun is something that's been missing on gaming. And that's like Brad always says. He says it's like I know I shouldn't paraphrase this because it's drugs and that, but it's like crack cocaine. It's like a drug, and the game is so addictive. You can get killed. You can fly out 100 people. You can get killed within 5 minutes, or you can go for 35 minutes, and you get killed in the last 5. Like I've done that a few times today, and I didn't win once today, and I'm like, fuck's sake, but.
No, I like that element of it as well. I am disappointed it hasn't come over to PS4 as of yet. But
the only thing they said with the PS4, because I'm on all the forums, and it's a good stance by Sony, because don't get me wrong, if you haven't got the Xbox One X, there's a big difference in the quality of what you're playing. Now, the Xbox One X is fucking ace because of the graphics, the draw distance, everything. The only thing they haven't done is the 60 frames per second. But on the S, it's struggling. Like when Mark played with us before, we dropped down, me and Brad, we've got the X, and he's like, where the fuck are we? What's going on here? And then all of a sudden he went, oh, a bridge is just loaded in. Well, we'd already been on the floor for like 20 seconds because the power's not there. So what they've said on the PlayStation is there's a big rumour that it will come on the PlayStation, because Fortnite's stealing all its glory at the moment, because Fortnite's available on both of them. It's free. Even though PUBG is the biggest game this year.
All of that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, Fortnite's overtaking it because it's free and it's available on the PS4. And what they said is the PS4 or Sony will not release that game until it is in a state of a proper retail game. Yeah. They don't do what but don't get me wrong, Andrew, because some of the times there's a lot of rubber banding on PUBG where you start in the map and at the first couple of minutes you run and it's like this.
Yeah, so you're
on your back, like and there's things on it where you could tell before some of the even the last patch, if someone was near you, because you go near a house and it stutter for a second, so you knew that there was someone within that area, whether they were hiding or they were, sort of scoping you out. So it wasn't in the best of states, but it's playable and it's so. The communication, teamwork, and then afterwards, I find that I've never done this on the game. Like Gears of War, and that, as you know, spent hours on. I rave about it, but I've never even Battlefield, where I've played Battlefield. I've never, at the end of a game, sat there and analysed where I've gone wrong, and then think.
And so many factors in it as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any fucking difference. I still get killed the next round, but it just you sit there going, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Like you could spend 35 minutes getting to this point, and we did it the other night. Me. Brad and then Steve-O was playing, and then you're like, what the fuck? I've just got killed now because I've stood up in the wrong place or you've pressed the wrong button, just something ridiculous. There's so many things could go wrong. There's got to be so many things right for you to win, if that makes sense.
That's the essence of a good game as well, and the concept is very, very simple, which I always kind of reiterate again. It's so simple, but it's obviously all of the mechanics and the physics work to make a great game as well.
Have you never tried Fortnite?
No, I haven't. So it's maybe worth picking up. If I know that you guys are playing it, it's maybe something that we can go through as well.
Fortnite, I'll play with you on PS4. I played on Xbox.
Yeah, so the same with Gang Beasts as well. Obviously, we've not talked about that, but again, a really nice sort of pick up and play game.
Need to buy that.
Whilst I go and get a beer from the fridge as well, what games are you looking forward to this year, Mister?
Well, as usual, I'd be lying if I said I'm not looking forward to Pro Evo, even though I'm going to be totally disappointed. FIFA 19 Pro Clubs, the single player, I don't really give two fucks about. It's the same cut and paste job. I just hope it gets sorted, the servers. And then there's a couple of things with the Game Pass, because obviously there's that Sea of Thieves come out with Xbox, and it was something I wanted to get into, really. I think there's going to be a Halo this year of some sort, because because it's every 2 years. Obviously E3's not until June, and it's not a Gears of War year, so Gears of War obviously only come out last year, so realistically you would only be getting news of Gears probably next year, and it may be on a 3-year cycle, I'm not sure, but it could be something to do with Halo, because obviously Halo 5 was out, must be it's over 2 years now. Nearly 3. I think it's nearly 3 years. I think it was 2015 it come out. So I think it was October 2015. So I think there could be something with Halo. I don't know. Because the thing is, it's sad really, but obviously Last of Us 2, I don't know whether that's going to come out on the PlayStation. I mean,
I think as far as unless I'm mistaken, it may drift into 2019. I don't know, but again,
I hope not. I mean, that thing is just drifted today. I've just seen that Anthem, which was a cross-platform game. You know, the one they were saying they're supposed to be maybe copying a bit of like the PUBG Battle Royale format, like an open world sort of Destiny type thing, but that's just been moved to 2019.
If anything like that comes out that's akin to Destiny, it doesn't interest me. It's like the least interesting thing that I could find in a game like that as well. Just to have to grind and grind and grind to get anywhere. It's not for me at all.
No. And then even this year, I'd had enough. I was like, Destiny 1, I grinded my fucking ass off. I was like a fucking skateboarder, I was grinding that much. And I just gave up. It's just like, it was such a good game, the first one. Even though it was just repetitive, I really enjoyed the shooting mechanics. Was so tight. That's what I put in the review for the second one. Shooting mechanics, there's no game's got tighter shooting mechanics as a first-person shooter. It's one of the best games, but the fucking whole concept,
it's really one-dimensional for me.
I agree with you. It's fucking shit. And even the multiplayer, even the single player is shit. Like, let's say Battlefield games, the single player is usually pretty poor and hollow. The online's great, but the online's fucking rubbish. It's absolute garbage. All the stuff you know this, all the stuff you loot for and sort of create the jobs and create the guns and all that shit. You're on a level playing field online, so it doesn't make a difference whether you've got the best fucking gun going and you've earned it and stuff like that. When you're online, it doesn't mean anything because you're all on the same, which it obviously has to be. Because if I've got a fucking spud gun and you've got a fucking shotgun, you're going to win every time, you know. So so it
doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, it's just like a weapon skin. You've got a great looking weapon. It doesn't actually mean it does anything. So yeah. So what about yourself?
Well, we've obviously had two very notable collated reviews from two PS4 games that have come out this week in Monster Hunter World and Dragon Ball Z. I'd be lying if I thought that I would. I don't know whether I would actually pick any of them up or not. I think probably Monster Hunter World would be one of those. If I knew that a handful of people I know would be picking a game like that up, I would be playing it online with them as well. Because again, I'm not really sure that I'm going to spend time playing online with other people that I don't necessarily know. But the game itself, I mean, as much as it's very niche, and it obviously has a massive following, Monster Hunter World, doesn't it? You know,
yes,
it's millions of people playing that online. It looks very intricate. It feels like you're obviously going to have to sort of figure out the rules and the ramifications of a game like that. Because I was saying to you previously when I played the beta is that you literally just dropped into it and said to go. Whereas it feels like if you were to play it from a single player perspective, initially you would have a brief tutorial that would say, so basically you are dropped into a world where you have a big monster to head for, but then there are loads of other caveats as you go throughout this map. So you have to look at the tracks that the monster has left, Has he killed anyone in its wake as well? And then are there like sort of like sub monsters that can lead you to it as well?
Yeah.
And then there'll be other little Easter eggs where you actually might find a monster that is more rare than the main one that you're fighting for. So that'll give you more points or coins towards obviously getting better weapons and armor and stuff like that. Doesn't necessarily rely on Star Wars based loot boxes in order to get better at the game as well. So Dragon Ball Z looks like a beautiful sort of 2D fighting game as well.
Yeah, it
more
does.
attuned to how the series looks. I mean, that's the one thing. If I was to say there was any redeeming feature from it, it looks incredible, absolutely beautiful. So on a nice 4K TV or something like that, have the lads around for a few beers as well. I would have thought that would go down like a treat. Again, it would be another one where I would completely avoid any online play, because anyone that spent about 3 days from that would just be pummeling me into the ground as well.
Yeah, they did have arcade sticks. I'll tell you what, actually, good segue there, because have you seen what's come out this week on the PS4 and PC? You know, Street Fighter 5. They've brought out this week, and I mean, I'm going to pick it up because it's so cheap, and I love Street Fighter, as you know. As a kid, I fucking loved their games, and I haven't touched Street Fighter 5 because when it first came out, they were saying like the actual fighting mechanics and animation fantastic, but there was just nothing to it. Well, they've decided now to actually, it's like it's been in an open beta for the best part of 18 months or a year. And you can pick it up for about a tenner, and I've waited and waited, but they've brought an arcade edition out now, and all the reviews are like 9s and 10s. They're saying basically this is the game it should have been from the start. So it's been repackaged for like 20 quid. But even if you bought the normal generic Street Fighter 5, which I think there's a PS store, I'm going to have a look in the morning actually, there's a PS store sale, and you can buy the normal vanilla version of Street Fighter 5, and it just automatically updates to the arcade edition. Just the arcade box is slightly, if you wanted the box, if you just want Street Fighter 5, but it's supposed to be absolutely fantastic. And
I noticed from all the reviews that were coming through, it's exactly the same.
Supposed to be brilliant. And then there's a final fight, which I've really, one of the final fight characters, the guy with the moustache, I can't his bloody name.
Oh, yeah, I do remember. Bloody hell, that's a nostalgia.
Hagar or something like that. I can't his bloody name is the guy. He used to play Final Fight.
You know, the next time we do, the special guest on this podcast should be Siri or Alexa as well, so she can answer all of our questions.
all the ones that we don't know.
Oh dear. Yeah. So
I think it's Hagar. You know, I'm going to check that one. You carry on. Let me check.
So mine sort of one of the notable releases, because I love a good sort of open world, anything akin to please bring me back to the days of Fallout 3 type game as well. We got Kingdom Come Deliverance, which I obviously know has been in production for a long time. So sort of like a very, very open world medieval game, trying to be as historically accurate towards the Crusades as it possibly can. And like the game itself is so open that you could potentially start a mission that could be time-based or could rely on certain elements happening as well. And if any of those elements don't actually combine, the mission will fail straight away as well. No, so I think that was the nice thing I liked about Fallout 3 that Fallout 4 really missed, is that it was very open in terms of your choice as well. So you could, if you chose any of the missions, be able to go down a really sort of tempestuous, hideous route, and you could just become a horrible bastard throughout the land as well, or you could try and do it in the most positive sense as well. So it kind of feels like Kingdom Come Deliverance is going to give you that very, very open option to it as well. Whether it delivers on that, with it being in production for so long and not necessarily being from a massive company, I don't know. But I'm still very much hopeful that would actually deliver. And I'm the same with you, mate, as well. I really do hope that we have a credible football game this year. I really do.
There's got to be some. I know we can't keep fucking banging how bad Pro Evo is and stuff drum. I understand that, but just something different for us. Just something to make. I don't know about you. Obviously, my perspective is purely from online, and only because there's not much. I never feel there's much legs in. Obviously, the old school PES. You could put the Masters League on now. PS2, it's absolutely fine. You can play it. It'd be great, but I'm happy to play single player if there's something behind it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see the.
I'm from a perspective of that would always be our go-to game if I meet up with my friends. If we have a meeting, it's that I can go to my mates with my PS4, and I know that regardless of anyone's abilities, we can put a Masters League on. 4 of us can play on the same team, and we'll just have a blast.
Yeah,
that'd be the. Whereas now we're almost having to suggest the types of games that we would play. I mean, I'm still not saying it'd be fun because we're obviously meeting up with our friends as well. PES Masters League would be the go-to for whoever it was who wouldn't necessarily, you'd have people who would play driving games, people who would play role-playing games, people who would play action games or PC games or anything like that. That is the one thing that we could put on and everyone would have the same amount of fun when we were playing it.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it's one of them, innit? I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but years ago on the old Pro Evos, probably in PES 1, 2 and 3, you could cheat the Masters League, because it was just a one-player single player experience. If you put the second controller in and just randomly press loads of buttons as fast as you could get the second controller to go to player 1 as well, so you could have both of you playing a dual Masters League. It was like a cheat. I don't know how we found it. I don't know if you ever knew that, but we found it by putting the pad in. It used to piss us off. We couldn't play Masters League. And I remember sitting there a couple of times, and I don't get me wrong, I didn't have a clue. It's not like, fucking Sonic, up, down, left, right, A, B, and
like
Sonic. Like GTA, where you pressed like so many certain buttons to unlock whatever. But you could do it, and it was only on a couple of the Pro Evos. I can't remember which one, but we used to sit there, and you'd be like, "Why the fuck can't you have 2 player Masters League?" And you'd be like that, and then eventually the tab would light up for the control pad, and you could just flick it across, and it was just I couldn't tell you what the combination of buttons were and that, but it did work on a few.
Because I got PES 2 on my Pi as well.
I don't know which one it is. It was a couple of them you could do it on, but it was just random as fuck because it wasn't like it was well known. There's probably other people out there who'll say, right, you only had to press one button, but we used to sit there trying to move and it wouldn't move, and then eventually it would highlight and move across. Weird. But it's just they're the intrinsic things you would find out about the game as you play it, because there's legs in it, because you wanted to play it for that long. Now, I'd be hard pressed to play 10 minutes of Pro Evo, and we know we've done this for 20 odd podcasts, so I know we're going down the same route. It is reiterating, exactly, and I think your name has changed. We said this last time because of what they've done. My direction of the podcast has changed because of that. Yeah, and it's going to benefit both of us because, you've got a new logo, a new rebrand. I've got a new logo this week, so it's like I've got to talk about other things because people are sick to fucking death listening about how I think Pro Evo's bad or you or whoever Steve-O does. It's just that surely should say on a low level, we are nobody in we're not really a dent or a footprint on the Konami sort of world at the moment, but we are a voice at some point, and we can see what's wrong with it, so why can't they? And I think with FIFA's the same. FIFA, because it's got no competition really, other than say a month before Pro Evo comes out and the demo, it might get a couple of people to go, you know what, I'm going to buy Pro Evo, and then when they play it they go, I'm going to trade it in for FIFA, and that's usually what happens, you know what I mean? But that's true. It's fucking true. Pro Evo has the best marketing ever from about May to September.
Yeah, they've got that right, haven't they?
Absolutely fucking bang on. They can put a video up of some guy and a pair of Adidas boots, and they'll go, that's fucking amazing. Best game ever. Look at his feet, his planting of his feet. I see it on the forums all the time. The nets are working this year and everything, and that just total. And then as soon as you get the game, it just goes fucking down the Swanee. So that's where they need to, when it comes out, keep it at that level. But there's just nobody, unless something happened to E3 in June and someone comes out and goes, right, we're going to bring a footy game out and we're going to do this. Oh, I'd be all over it. I'd be contacting him and everything to try and promote it. Yeah. I mean, we all say 2K. Everyone does because of the sports thing, but it's...
I don't think it would take much.
No. You're breaking into a market where they're probably afraid of FIFA, but they also need to sort of start realising, whether they do surveys or they must see it, there's a niche there which could become such a big fucking thing because people are sick to death, even if it's an alternative to FIFA. And unfortunately, Pro Evo gets pushed to the side, and then that's got to make them come up then properly. Instead of just half-arsing it, they've got to then invest properly. You know what I mean? There's no point in investing in fucking billboards at Darlington v Doncaster fucking, some fucking middle of the road football game or something, and you see PES 2018 or 2000, or fucking Villarreal v Getafe or something, and then you're getting it all over Twitter. That's amazing. Wow, Pro Evo's present. That's fucking marvelous, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean fuck all to me. Even a Premiership game, West Ham games, whatever they're playing, it doesn't mean anything because they're not really, in my opinion, they're not investing correctly. You know what I mean? I know they've got to market the game, but
should we subside your rage somewhat? Talk about some notable upcoming games for 2018.
Go for it. Sorry.
TV as well.
Yeah,
we've obviously got the guys who created all of the pirate ship elements from the Assassin's Creed game. So Skull and Bones is basically going to be a more elaborate version of that. When we had the pirate ship games, which is basically PS4's answer to Sea of Thieves, because Sea of Thieves is going to be an Xbox exclusive, isn't it? So
Sea of Thieves is fucking shit. Let's just
I've
beta tested it and it's fucking rubbish, and it's actually on an open beta now on Xbox.
Isn't it amazing if you construct like a developer video with everyone playing it, how you can perceive a game to be amazing? I mean, that is a feat in itself. Wouldn't it actually be refreshing at some point that when you saw something at E3, when you paid money for it and you picked it up, you were like, yeah, this is the actual game that I was thinking it was going to be. But yeah, so Skull and Bones is hopefully going to be that game. So taking all of the great elements from the pirate ship sections of Assassin's Creed and just putting it into its own game. So multiplayer online, you were all on the ship and all hands on deck in order to control either the direction and the weapon elements as well. And then you can obviously board other ships to take over them. And then there'll be sort of like computer elements where I know they'd like reference the Kraken that was in the sea as well. Yeah. So maybe you have to sort of team up to fight that as well. Has a lot of potential, definitely has a lot of potential. The one thing I will say where I'm disappointed that I don't have my Xbox One anymore, the new State of Decay game is coming out this year as well. So I'll very much miss that.
That actually segues very well on. Have you got any other games, actually? Sorry, because that segues on, actually, to something I was going to bring up, actually.
No, absolutely not. You carry on.
They've announced this week, Microsoft, that the Xbox Game Pass, which they brought out, which was an alternative to the PS Now. Obviously, PS Now is purely a streaming thing, so it's absolutely it's dependent on how good your connection is and how good their servers are, which I've tried, never bought into. It's a lot of games that are old anyway. It just does fuck all for me.
Garbage, mate.
Absolute shit. Exactly. You've tried it. Fucking rubbish. The idea is good, but the price, everything is garbage. Fucking rubbish. Exactly. It's garbage. You can pick the games up for miles cheaper than that crap. So then they bring out the Game Pass. I got a couple of free trials when I got the Xbox One X, and before that, you get like a free trial. I think it was $7.99 a month. And they've announced this week that every first-party game from Microsoft Studios, so Gears of War, Halo, Sea of Thieves, which is, in my opinion, Sea of Wank, Forza, which is always a great game. Sorry for me.
That review needs work, mate.
Yeah, that's a fucking 1 out of 10. And then you've got State of Decay 2, which is obviously coming out, and anything that they bring out at E3 that like Crackdown 3. Crackdown 1, great game. Crackdown 2, fucking awful. Zombie day and night thing was just terrible. Crackdown 1, one of my favourite games on Xbox.
Yeah.
Crackdown 3, so from the day it comes out, the day of release, you can download that game. Now, I think it's similar to Netflix, but I might be wrong on this because a lot of people are not commenting on it, and I'm sure when the Xbox Game Pass come out you paid your subscription, but once you've downloaded that game, that is your game. And I can't work out, it's like I've missed something where someone say it's like a Netflix thing now, where obviously once your subscription finishes, the games are locked behind until you reactivate it. But I'm sure I'd have to look into that again. Again, Siri needs to be my friend on this, but it's a good thing because you get in these games. Like I know for a fact that Sea of Thieves and that there's no fucking way I'd even waste my money to play that shit. But I'm intrigued. Even though I played the beta and I was in the not the testing that's been done on Xbox Live, but the private testing, because I do that for a company, and it was fucking garbage, and I didn't understand what the hell was going on. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Would be surprised. I think that in terms of a model is a lot better. I think I would be surprised if you get to keep the game. But it makes much more sense if you're actually able to physically download the game and play it offline, while you have this subscription. That makes much more sense as a game. I mean, that's
it does. It does, and I could be completely wrong. I probably am, to be fair, because most subscription things you're hidden behind that paywall anyway for a reason. That's the whole point of this. You're right.
You could theoretically just have that, and then that's how you could treat your games. You could think, hang on, how much am I going to spend every month on video games anyway? Yeah. Am I able to obtain most of them through this pass, like a Netflix subscription? Can I complete them in those times allotted? Perfect. I think that works really well.
Yeah, well, he was saying that obviously there's hundreds of games on it and some really good ones. There's 360 games and things like an arcade ones, but there's a lot of Xbox One games. But what they were saying is if you per year buy 2 Microsoft exclusive games, a la Forza or Gears of War, you've paid for it because you would be paying for that at the store anyway. So the £80 or £90 you're going to pay on them 2 games is paid for your subscription for the year. So it's a no-brainer. Obviously, the only other thing with Xbox is the storage because these 4K updates are killing it. I mean, I've said this week, I got the 1 terabyte with the X and it's fucking took my whole Xbox up, you know, like the whole thing. Whereas I had a 2 terabyte with the Gears of War one, which I've given to Jord. But she's got a better hard drive, but you're then looking at the memory. So it's one without the other. It's a great concept, but you need shitloads of storage.
Yeah, and I don't. I mean, obviously, it just means. I mean, I do the same as well. I've got a terabyte PS4 Pro as well. Disc-based games on there, you're obviously having to juggle it around a little bit as well, so it's not necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a great thing, and apparently it also goes across to PC as well because you have that Play Anywhere thing with the Xbox exclusive games where you once you've downloaded it on Xbox, you can get it on the PC, Microsoft Store for free. So it works as well for the past stuff, which is brilliant. So that's it's a bit of a kick to Sony, but it's something Microsoft needed to do because obviously they're so far behind in sales. They're just trying to generate more buzz, and they're very, very pro-consumer now. Whereas Sony have just seem to be shooting themselves in the foot now once they've got that lead.
There's not necessarily anything that's come out recently in the news where PS4 are looking at changing their approach on anything like that.
No.
Whether they're still banking on the fact that their 2018 games list looks really good and really strong, and we're going to get something from any of the games events that come out this year. But as of yet, there isn't really anything within their approach to the games or the way that they're giving anything out that's really going to change.
No, I agree. But to be fair, why should they? You're totally right because they've got such a lead in sales and everything, and the exclusives are better than Microsoft.
They don't want to rest on the laurels to a certain extent, mate. And I really do think they need to change this PlayStation Now model. Really, I think the only way that it would work is if they did the same with that, but you were looking at almost every back catalogue, you know, from PS1 to PS3 game. Really.
No, that's great. Have you got anything else?
No, straight on the TV.
I've got 2. Well, I've got two more things with the gaming. Actually,
very. Yeah, of course you can. Absolutely.
This week, it's been announced that the PS4's been hacked, so you can actually get PS2 games running on it. There's a homebrew thing that they've brought out. I don't know the sort of technicalities and what it does, but they've finally been able to crack it because obviously all the others have been able to do it at Sony and Xbox. You could do it across them, could you, after so long? So that's opening up the backwards compatibility argument. If you've got a Pro, you're not going to crack it. If you've got another PS4 hanging around, you'd have a go at trying to crack it. You know,
it'd almost be worthwhile just to play Pro Evo 6, mate. Really,
exactly. So it's I don't know how it works or the intrinsics of it and stuff like that, but I've just seen it announced on some of the websites, and Eurogame had an article on it. So we'll see on that one. But one game actually on the PS4, I don't know if you've seen it, and I can't wait for it, is the new Spider-Man. It looks fucking amazing.
It looks amazing, doesn't it look great as well? Because you're almost combining the sort of combat elements or the best combat elements from the Batman games as well, which are some of my favourite games on the PlayStation and Xbox as well. And the open world element of it as well. Yeah, there isn't anything from any of the trailers that has made me think that game won't be anything but incredible, really.
Even the fighting mechanics, which usually look a bit iffy on a Spider-Man game, looks fucking awesome.
No, they look really tight, don't they?
Yeah, that's it. But that's it for me for gaming. I just thought I'd drop that one in there. So go for it, mate. TV,
I don't know what you're watching at the moment, mate. Have you got anything that anything of notable? I'm not leading into that, mate. So it really depends which way you want to do. We can go highbrow first,
Let's go with the intellectual. The only thing I'm watching actually is McMafia. I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'm storing it now though. I've watched 2 or 3 episodes, and I'm storing it till the end to sort of binge it to watch it. So, no.
All right, I'll do you a favor.
Come on, you do yours. Oh no.
I know it's obviously been going. It's a franchise that's been going for a long time as well, and we maybe haven't seen. And I know it's probably dated when you go back to it, but we've maybe not seen anything as credible as Star Trek Next Generation. But the new Star Trek series is, Netflix have obviously invested quite a lot of money in it as well. But
yeah,
I've been really taken aback by it. I'm really surprised at the kind of the quality, not just in the visuals, but continuity, being able to sort of invest in a story arc which goes along the entire season rather than having the usual typical Star Trek episodes where it'll be all self-contained within one episode.
Yeah.
Whereas this, you follow one of the main characters who, without spoiling it too much, maybe comes to unforeseen circumstances and isn't necessarily that likable as your usual sort of captain, as is the particular person played by Jason Isaacs at the time as well, who seems to be hiding quite a lot of secrets. So you have all of these people on the ship that aren't necessarily this kind of perception of either Shatner or Picard, but are doing it because they're all at war as well. So you have the Klingons that have been reintroduced to it as well. And there's an enormous sort of space civil war that's going on at the moment. So you obviously have little reflections on that for how war is depicted in our modern world as well. And sort of most of the other treatments on particular characters are how alien races are treated as well. I'm just really, really surprised that it kind of keeps surprising me the further it actually goes into the series. Unfortunately, we've got to this point now where we've caught up on it that much that it's not like dumped all of the episodes all at once, so we're having to wait for them every week at the moment. So
that's a killer.
I'm usually all right because I understand that when Game of Thrones comes out, you have to wait every week, and I'm kind of happy with that. I've made my peace with it. But when you've watched about 3 episodes in the go and you're ready for another one, and then you're like, nah, you got to wait until next week.
Yeah, it fucks you up. That you just want to. It's weird, isn't it? Because obviously it's a new thing, this binge watching, and I think programs like Breaking Bad invented that, and Sons of Anarchy and that, because Breaking Bad was a sleeper hit because it was out on Channel 5 originally, series 1 and 2, and then they lost they just dropped it because it wasn't getting the ratings, and then obviously Netflix and America, they picked up on it, and it just went fucking looping. This is where like say Sons of Anarchy went from like Bravo channel. I don't know if you ever watched Sons of Anarchy all the way through, but I absolutely loved it, but it's not everyone's taste, and Lost and things like that.
It's still got really good reviews though as well.
It sort of resonated with me, and I love that show. So Breaking Bad I did, and it's weird stuff that the Netflix binge watching has just transformed TV, and it's also transformed TV where when you listen to a lot of the American podcasts, they don't watch TV. They're just getting rid of they can get rid of TV. Like obviously here, you've got to have a TV license whether you watch BBC or not.
I mean, what would you ever, for anything that you would ever watch live that would be on the iPlayer or anything like that? I think the only thing that goes on my TiVo box is Match of the Day, something like that, really.
Yeah. And that's dependent on if United have won anyway. If Drew will get beat, I don't fucking watch it. So I agree. I mean, I watch a lot of the American car stuff, and there is stuff there. I love me American stuff. So I watch like Street Outlaws, watch Wheeler Dealers, which is obviously UK based, but they've sort of branched into America now. And then I'm always on Discovery, them sort of shows. So
you'd struggle, wouldn't you, to find a show that you like that you can't necessarily get on streaming TV, though, really?
Yes. Yeah. And it's totally right. Like the Mafia stuff, I haven't checked the iPlayer, but usually the series is usually available now on iPlayer for that reason, because of that. But I've not checked it, but I know that's why we're sort of. I should do that really as I'm thinking out loud. But I think the binge, the binge concept is a great thing, and like the Punisher, we watched them all the way through. I had about 3 episodes stopped for a couple of weeks, and then we just binged a lot.
I think for me, it usually depends on the type of show that you're watching. So if I take the example of something like The Juice, with David Simon, I couldn't really ever envisage watching more than 2 episodes in a night.
Yeah.
Because I want to ingest everything that's going on. It's so rich and so vibrant, and it's not necessarily in either the characters or what they say. It's the environments and anything that's going on at the time that I want to be able to soak up and process before I'm watching something else, really. Whereas something like, I don't know, Daredevil is you could quite happily watch 3 or 4 episodes of that in a sitting, really.
Yeah, it's just a film, really, isn't it? It's just an extension of a film. So it's like, and I agree. I think the genres and stuff like the McMafia, you probably could wait every week. I mean, that's what we're doing at the moment, to watch 3 in a row. But I must admit, we had 2 episodes the other week we watched, and exactly what you've just said. I was thinking, I don't want to watch anymore. Not because I'm not enjoying it. It's very rare that I don't say. Obviously,
you want to enjoy it, don't you?
Yeah, because there's stuff going on in that game. He's telling these subplots and telling stories around, like any TV show that you miss, and you're sort of thinking, and then obviously, I know it sounds daft, but like me and Sam might say, so I don't understand that, or I don't understand, and it's like I was saying to you about The Hotel Manager. Have you had a chance to watch that yet?
No, I know, yeah.
Oh, it's really brilliant.
Like Middleston as well, yeah.
It's so good, honestly, Andrew. I can't recommend it enough, and it took America by storm. Right, Joe. Jordan's now joined us, Andrew. She's not speaking, though. She's just looking at me in disgust. But yeah, I genuinely, it's such a good film. Such a good TV show. The whole character building, and Hugh Laurie's just totally out of character. So good, so good.
And anything else that I'm watching, it's very hard to watch anything else when I'm just really addicted to the multiple episodes of comedians in cars getting coffee. So obviously Seinfeld, Seinfeld, basically, he wasn't really bothered about doing anything, didn't necessarily want a talk show because he couldn't think of doing anything like on that length for that amount of time, because I don't know how any human being is able to do that sort of thing as well. But he's basically created a TV show where he picks a really fancy car, goes and picks up one of his friends, basically. So it could be any one of his friends, from like Stephen Colbert to David Letterman to
Barack Obama. I've seen that one.
Yeah, Barack Obama as well. Really good episode. Really enjoyed that as well.
I have seen that one. I've not seen the other ones. I have seen that one though.
Larry David, and it's the majority of it is all of the guys that he's grown up with in the comedy circuit as well. It's really, really, considering that each of the episodes, and to be honest, you can probably reference it from the Obama episode that you can watch. He's got this really sort of natural way of either to interrogate somebody or just to let them speak, but to really get out the natural personalities of that particular person in the format that he has. Which, and another thing where I was discussing with one of my friends in work today as well, you can almost treat the show itself, because you can find it on Netflix, and there are probably about 100 episodes on there already. You can treat it like a podcast. So you can be like, Ricky Gervais, excellent, I like him. And then you can just click, and you've got 60 minutes with Ricky Gervais as well. And they are, Chris Rock, amazing. Boop. And then you've got...
and it's a good thing, and then you might get someone you fucking hate, and you're like, well, I'll forget that, I'm not watching him.
Yeah, and that's all they did, no offense. And I'm sure that a lot of people like her, but as soon as I saw the Sarah Jessica Parker or the Amy Schumer episode, it was like that, bloop, no thanks.
I don't like Amy Schumer at all.
No, not for me. It's not for me.
No, I've watched podcasts with her. I've listened to podcasts with her, such interrupts, and I don't know. There's just something about her. She's got this level of entitlement. She's worked her ass off to get where she is, especially in a like comedy. I know I'm going off on a segue, but a comedy world where it's male orientated, and like obviously you had your Roseannes and that, but they were very few and far between. Which obviously there should be more female comics, but
absolutely,
just fucking something about her. And I've listened to her on like podcasts with Jim Norton and stuff. Like I listened to the UFC ones, and she's been on that, and she just seems like a fucking ass. Whether she's a man or a woman, I just don't like her. I don't know why. I just don't know what her sort of beef is.
But I think it's really good for being able to either just sort of binge watch because they're only 16 episodes, or actually to be able to just pick out some of your favourite comedy. Because I obviously know comedy is very, very personal to everyone as well, and it's probably one of the most subjective forms of media other than music, really, where it's very personal to that particular taste.
Yes.
One thing that I will say before we move on is I'm really desperate to start Mindhunter as well. I'm a massive fan of David Fincher. it's great that he's been able to do this series at the moment. But I'm just we're waiting to get to Star Trek, so me and the wife can actually pick it up as well.
You'll have to get on that the next time. Give us the review properly, because I don't even know what it is. So you've done me over again here with these.
Well, Mindhunter season 2 of Westworld, with obviously first season of Westworld was absolutely incredible as well. And I mean, I've seen a few trailers for Altered Carbon, which is the guy from the creator of Shutter Island. So
yeah,
it looks very promising. But yeah, and that is me.
Now, obviously, for the audio listeners, they can't see my face, but I'm actually smirking because me and Andrew had a conversation before, and I have mentioned this on a couple of the podcasts. But I will watch programs, as I've just mentioned, Matthew, and my knowledge of TV shows and that is not one-dimensional. But because of this sort of day and age of quick, not having to think about things, I resonate a lot to reality stuff, and and I mean that I'm not talking fucking I don't know, let's build a fucking ship and put everyone in a cabin and see how they live. I'm talking like the SAS.
What are you talking about? You would
watch anything, mate. Honestly, anything that's reality. Yeah, anything that's reality, and I'll watch it. And like the SAS thing that's on at the moment, I've not watched that yet. I've backed that up so we can watch it. I love that one. It's a fantastic show. All the ex-SAS guys, what they put them through and everything. As someone, obviously, like anybody, trying to keep fit, and then you see that sort of thing in the mental thing, love it. But let's get back to the proper stuff. The Kardashians, anything to do with, like, we watch all this shit from America on the E! Channel where they're like wives of American footballers and baseball players and fucking, anyone can get a reality show. I'm on it. And like, there's one we're watching at the minute, the Sam's recorded at the minute, and it just doesn't make any sense. But I'm like, yeah, get it recorded, and we watch it. But what I was talking to you about before was, I have a sort of, not on a major thing, and I'll tell you a quick story. I have an insider thing on a lot of the TV stuff because I've done extra work, adverts. I've done a little bit of sort of, not proper modelling, but like proper, like, do we need an electrician to hold a screwdriver? So I'm there like this, like that. That's me, or whatever. I've done that sort of stuff, but I've done a lot of stuff with TV people, and the reality stuff is utter bullshit. The whole thing is, even though I watch it, it's ruined a lot of. This is one of the things that when it comes to TV shows, and what I'm struggling with a lot of TV shows is how fucking people are horrible and absolute arses. So, like, if I said to you, because I had a text yesterday, do you want to come on this advert? It's top secret. It's in Manchester. We're filming in February. You cannot tell anybody. You've got to sign like an NDA. It's like fucking Pro Evo, this non-disclosure agreement and everything. Have you got any friends who come? So I could say to you, Andrew, do you want to come? I need to send your picture in. They communicate with you, right? Chris and Andrew go. We go down to do an advert or a TV show. Like, I've been on Coronation Street. Were lovely. I've been on twice to Corrie, absolutely lovely. And what I was going to say, I'm going off on one here, but I went yesterday to fix the bus shelter on Coronation Street. And when I got there, my mate with me, who doesn't believe me when I'm saying I'm doing all these things, the fucking security guard went, I recognise you. I was just like, fucking ridiculous. I'm an extra, you know what I mean? I've been on it a couple of times. But Corrie are really nice, lovely people, so I'd never badmouth them. But a lot of the other people I'd met, people who you think on social media and these TV shows are nice, are fucking horrible. And I've done adverts and everything. You never see me in these adverts because they always cut you out. But I've been on a few adverts. Bradley Wiggins was a nice bloke. Met him, that new advert that's on at the minute for Skoda. Did that. Great guy. I've met him, and when we were doing it, I only spoke to him briefly. We were having something to eat. Good guy. But the other ones, fucking awful, these people. And you've got this pecking order where you've got the actors, the crew, and then the extras, or the ones there. You are the scum of the earth. And I have a massive thing about that. So when I watch these shows, I find it hard to sit there and watch shows because I know what bastards they are and how important they think they are just because they're on a TV screen. So even though it ruins the illusion, it sort of ruined my experience of TV shows, because Corrie's probably one of the only shows I watch now because I know they're all nice people, most of them. So I know it sounds stupid. I've gone off on a total tangent.
No, I understand that as well, but it is probably been involved in it at any sort of level. Like
Yes,
probably is going to spoil your
mate,
enjoyment of it, really. Yeah.
Talk about a class problem. You know, like obviously growing up, my dad was Labour and everything. My dad's just fucking on all sorts of. But we grew up as a Labour family. Not like yourselves, and it was like working class. You know, you had the middle class, the work, all that stuff. That's what it's like. You are literally like, I don't know, you're just like the scum of the earth when you're an extra. They treat you like shit. And everything Ricky Gervais did, and I watched it after I started doing extras on that show, is exactly what happens. Every single person you meet comes up to you who's an extra and goes, so what were you in? Yeah, I had a line. Someone will go, I had a line in Emmerdale once. Yeah. They wanted me back as a full-time part, but you know, I just didn't make it. And it's like, fuck off. No, they didn't. You know what I mean? Like everyone stands together going, oh, I did an advert for this, and you know, it's everything that he says and does in extras. He's absolutely on the money. But the reality stuff I love, and it's so convoluted and predetermined. Like a guy, I did the Dreams Beds advert last year. all you see is my hand. I'm on a sewing machine. You see my hand from above, and that's it. There's an advert that's been on when there's a man and a woman laying in bed together, and it's supposed to be from the production line.
Yeah.
That they're asleep. So from the minute that bed's produced, all the way to being delivered to their house, they're already laying in the bed asleep.
Yeah.
And we were in the factory doing certain things, but they only used literally my hand. You can't even see it from above.
You still get paid for that? If just
I got fucking makeup on and everything. Yeah, you get paid. It's fucking easy money, you know. Like, and then you've got. I did this Bradley Wiggins one. You don't even see me. You see the back of my head when he's the one that's on at the moment where he's in the Skoda. It was all filmed in Altrincham at Altrincham Grammar School on a Saturday morning. And the two kids are on the stage dressed as space people. Well, they do the scene for ages talking. We don't even use the scene. They don't even use the talking. And it went on, that was filmed at Hale Barnes Methodist Church in Hale near St Ambrose. So it was like all that was done. And it's like it's just utter shit. So like when I've watched the reality of this guy who did one of the adverts with, he said to me, the Dreams Beds, he said, I've just been offered £2,000. So I said, right. He said, what for? He said, to be an act on the Britain's Got Talent. He said, you know, I could skip. So I said, right. He said, so I'll get £2,000 to go on. They're going to do a backstory on me. Like, you know, this guy's fucking homeless, living on the street with one leg, you know, and he sprouted a leg overnight just to go on Britain's Got Talent, or some other fucking sob story they get out with the violin. And he's genuinely an actor or someone who works in that, and he was getting paid to go on it. And when you watch it, you think, oh, they're all utter shit. I knew that some woman told me she was a singer on the X Factor. Louisa Johnson won it, and it was all predetermined. There was people were told they were off the final before they'd even got the votes in the day of the final. And it's just utter bollocks. So when I watch it, like the X Factor, what they do, Britain's Got Talent, you only have a top act on and they sing and they'll go, right, you know, Britain's Got Talent, let's go, the gold fucking buzzer thing. And then after it, when everything's calmed down, they'll pan to a couple of two women or a man, and they'll go, that was amazing, wasn't it? And the other person goes, oh, it's fantastic. That's all filmed afterwards. It's just filmed afterwards. I've had text messages saying, would you be in the crowd on stuff? It's just... You're
destroying the illusion.
I'm ruining everything. Sam hates me because I watch everything, all the reality stuff. And you watch the reality stuff. We love Coach Triff and that, and I still watch it. But there's someone on there who's been on different things under different names. And then, you know, honestly, even game shows, I've been offered to go on game shows
because when you were in your early 20s and somebody ruined the fourth wall of wrestling for you, mate, it doesn't mean you need to go through and then just ruin everyone's
everything, mate.
Literally not just reality TV, but literally
everything. And that's I don't know. I've gone off on one of my stupid rants, but I watch the reality stuff because even though it's bullshit, like Towie and all the other shit, I watch all of it. You know, the Ibiza Weekenders on at the moment. I fucking love that show. You know, even stuff like X on the Beach and that. We used to like Geordie Shore, but I've gone off that complete shit because I don't like any of the people in it. But anything, it might sound real ignorant and stupid, but when it comes to reality stuff, if it's any, you could put someone in my fucking cupboard here with a camera and go, they're going to stay for 24 hours, and I'd watch it and be like, oh, this is amazing. And that's just terrible. I know it's terrible.
Oh,
it's short-sighted. I know you'll be like that soon. Beep, pixel.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. He's blocked me now as well. Yeah, but yeah, that's TV stuff's just reality bullshit. It's just my.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I've died. He's fucking died on this ass.
But Well, I mean, but then on the same instance, you would still watch some of the stuff that I gone through as well.
Yes, of course I would. Yeah, of course I would.
Involved in it, and obviously my degree catered to stuff like that as well. I always have that in the background. So as much as you're sort of related to the fact that my Pez Hunter changed to Pixel Hunter, I think maybe I was always doing stuff like that previously anyway. So I always appreciate really good writing above anything else. I know that I touched on before, obviously Blade Runner is like a visual masterpiece as well, but it obviously helps that the minimal dialogue in it is still absolutely spot on and beautiful as well. But I think good writing for me, you just really cannot get past as well. So
no, and I
there
think
is some good stuff out there, which I will obviously always promote for somebody as well. But I will never critique anyone's taste in anything like that anyway.
No, and like you said, TV is very much like comedy. It's subjective. Now, my favourite program of all time, it's not really a comedy as such, and it'll trump any. Nothing can beat Alvidi's Own Pet for me. I can watch that. The first two series, I can watch them back to back forever. Probably, I could watch them, and then obviously Del Boy. I love Phils and Horses and stuff. That comes a close second, but like the Jolly Boys Out in certain episodes of Del Boy are absolute masterpieces. But the Alvidi's Own Pet for the dark, it's a bit like the boys from the black stuff and all whatever it was called. They also use and all that stuff. It's that dark sort of struggle of like, guys who've not got any money and they're having to go to Germany to do it. And I don't know why. Just as a kid, my dad loved it and everything. And it's a family thing. And I've had
things that resonate with you, really.
Yeah. And I could sit there all day. And even though now it's 30, I mean, it's nearly 40 years old. The first series, 81. It's just amazing TV. And I know the second series was fucking ace. I love the second series, but then I'm in all the fan groups and it ruins that because apparently Jimmy Nail was a fucking arsehole in the second series because he thought he was big time and ruined a lot of the show. But I think the second series was the best series, but it stands.
It's almost best not to know stuff like
that.
Yeah,
it is because he was one of my heroes. Oz, the laddish fucking loud idiot, just chin someone if they sort of looked at him. But everything about that is my show, and that's what I end up going back to. If there's nothing on TV, I'll just put the old stuff on. I love Minder, the Sweeney, things like that. All stuff I grew up with as a kid, so I can watch them on a loop all the time. Like the Dukes of Hazzard, the A-Team. I watched the A-Team the other day. Absolutely, I've got them all on DVD, but I love stuff like that. I'll just a bit like the gaming. You go back to what the default, and now it's more accessible. I can go, I can watch stuff. I can watch certain things like the Fall Guys, fucking ace, but then I can watch Street Hawk and go, that is fucking terrible. Airwolf.
Well, don't say that as well. This is why I would never go back and watch Street Hawk because I always have the picture of it in my mind, like Knight Rider as well.
Yeah,
like, it's really good. And then if I ever put it on, I'd be like, oh god. At least whenever you watch Back to the Future, every time as well, I think it's still incredible. Yeah.
Nothing beats Back to the Future. That's one of my favourite films of all time. Back to the Future, all three of them.
Watched it over Christmas and I was like, incredible.
Nothing ever beats it. Just always ruined it on TV because of some of the swearing was out of it. It was sort of that first bit of the Twin Pines Mall. You know what I mean? Like you bastard and all that.
No, I've got all of that in it anyway. So
I've got them all on Blu-ray. I've got like the special editions. I love Back to the Future. My favourite ever. Fucking ace films.
Good stuff.
So so I think that's it for me, mate. Honestly, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I know me and Steve are going to be doing another podcast, but you're part of the furniture now. You know that. It'll always be there for you. I know I'm branching out and doing my own thing once a week just because I can, with work and stuff. I'm lucky I'm home early. I'm not lucky I get up so early, but I'm lucky I can finish early to do this.
I will always make time because I realise the amount of effort that you put into this as well, not just with obviously making sure you're around, but everything to promote it and get it into a digestible podcast afterwards as well. So
and we're learning. It's 24 episodes in, do you know what I mean? So it's all right. I've done 15 episodes as the personal training thing, but this is more my thing really, I think now. And then now having yourself on board and obviously Steve-O, and I've got one thing we said to you before we went on air is the streaming and stuff. It's something we're going to try and put something together. So, and you've got the following yourself anyway. You've earned that yourself. So, hopefully with the Pixel stuff as well, it's going to.
Yeah, I think we can obviously piggyback on that definitely. So, it's probably agreeing, especially for me, what PlayStation 4 game we can get into. If it means getting some Fortnite under our belt or anything like that, no, I'm more than happy with that.
Exactly, and Fortnite's one of the biggest streaming games anyway on Twitch and stuff now, and obviously YouTube because they haven't got the mixer on PS4, but they're bigger. I think they're bigger than PUBG at the moment, Fortnite. So just simply because of the numbers and the platforms it's available on, but it is a good game.
Yeah, ways and means. Always.
Exactly, but no, thanks, mate. It's been fucking ace as always, and we'll do this again very, very soon. So anyone who's listening, I just want to say thanks for all the support. The things are changing, things are growing for myself and Andrew. You know, obviously the TV film stuff is always going to be there, especially when Andrew's on. His knowledge is second to none, as you've just heard. But I think what we're doing with the YouTube and doing some live videos, and then as I stream, I'm going to keep putting them up on my channel to grow it. So sort of any questions and queries, just get onto it. And then I'm sure Steve will be on next. Well, it should be in a couple of days, so that'll probably go live next week.
And then for me, any sort of TV, film, or I know that I don't really touch on music as well, but the one thing that I always want to try and repost because it's a massive part of everything that I do, but I think personally I always find it hard to critique is music as well. But I'm always trying to do this album of the week on a Friday, so look out for that as well, and obviously look at me for at Pixel Hunter on Instagram and on Twitter, but mainly on Twitter. Exactly.
Get Andrew on there, and if you can't find him, which you should do because the logo comes straight up, Pixel Hunter, just look for me and my follows. He's at the top of like my follows, and obviously he's pinned to most of my tweets. Anyone who's out there, so yeah, it's been top this one, mate. So we've crushed episode 24. We were laughing before saying it was going to be an hour, but it's never an hour when we get.
I know.
So I'm bang on. I love it. Absolutely love it. It's to a different audience, and for you as well. It's getting it, getting everything out there, and we're in with a load of good people on Twitter and that social media who are good at helping to sort of promote this and promoting yourself, and so jobs are good, mate.
All right, happy Thursday, everyone,
and happy Friday. Just before we go, will be a 5-0 victory, and Alexis Sanchez getting all 5, I think, tomorrow. So.
Yeah, you're living in a dream world, but I'll have that, please.
Well, actually, just before we go, the one thing I will be living in is when fucking United, or if they win, sorry, I won't say when, if they win, then fuckers at M16 ORA will be taking my £50 by about midnight on Friday night for the fucking next game, or when the draw is on Monday, sorry, they'll be taking the money out within hours. So I just pray for an away game. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah, there you go. You take care, mate.
All right. See you later, pal.
See you, everyone.